Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Suzanna here today for Old Stories, New Ways, a series that I do with my friend Sarah, where we share with you heritage photos done with newer collections. So I am working with the Gather Kit from Mercy Tiara, and I have these two photos that honestly I don't know the story of. I know that is me as a baby, and that is actually 4 generations, including me. So there's me, then my mom, then her mom, and then my grand's mom, so my great grandmother. And there are 2 variations of the same photo, and I am working with the embellishment add-ons. You can see I have created strips there, and I have one of the really cool frames. I love these frames, and I want to put the photo in the frame, and I struggled with, to me, right, frame equals photo goes in frame. And so but I don't want to cut these photos. It is a square frame. It is a rectangular photo. And while the photo would fit in there, it would fit best if either the edges were hanging out, which I didn't like the look of, or if I cut the photo. And I don't dare cut these photos. In fact, I felt very brave, actually putting elements on top of the photos, because these are the originals, and I'm sure I have copies somewhere else. In fact, I know I do, but I didn't want to, I don't know, there's something sacred about them. I didn't want to cut into them. So I'm being brave again, and I backed the frame with one of the pattern papers, and actually in real life, and I do not do this on camera, but that large frame sits on top of those photos. So my story, or my mom's story, will go within that frame. And hence why you saw in the completed pictures, there is no journaling on this, because while I know the people in it, and I'm fairly certain this is when I met my great-grandmother, I don't actually know that that is the story. So I backed that blue frame, or the blue topped frame there, with that quilted piece, because both my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and actually the lady at the end in that top photo is I guess she would be my great aunt, because she is my grand's sister. She also was a seamstress. So the 3 of them came from my mom, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother, and my great-aunt were all sewers, quilters, actually. And I used to sew, so I have inherited that. But because of that, I chose to go with that quilt pattern. And I liked the way that it pulled the colors into the collection. I also really like the way that that blue piece provides a little bit of contrast and pops more of the otherwise muted colors in those older photos. It pulls the color out of the photos. And then, of course, I liked the way that that rusty orangey color in the top complemented the brick that they are standing beside in the house there. So I have 3 frames. I have no photos in the frames, and I'm very proud of myself for actually putting stuff in the frame that is not photos, and putting stuff on top of the photos. I thought that was, yeah, because they are the originals. And so, sometimes you just have to let go of those things that you hold on to that don't really serve a purpose in more ways than one, right? It didn't serve me any purpose here scrapbooking. So I'm going to layer up those other frames, these 2 that I'm adhering down. So I'm going to put a little bit of foam because they are chipboard. So I have to put foam behind the bottom of this particular one here. And these are new collections, right? Yes, they have a little bit of a vintagey feel to them, but Tracy has done a fantastic job of curating a kit that just works with lots of great color that can complement your older photos. And that's what this is all about, this series, is you can use newer collections. This is all new stuff that totally work with your older photos and tell your old stories new ways, right? So the title of this is actually Family. And I have not put in, my intent was to put in 4 generations, but I think I want that also in my mom's handwriting, not my handwriting. And so that's why that is not there. And I actually think that the 4 generations is going to go in that frame at the bottom left there. I thought that maybe I could pull a few more pieces from the frames, from the Pink Fresh Studio frames, and tie that in, but I have enough there, and really don't overdo a good thing. And so I'm not going to. So I wanted some embellishment more for this. It is very much a very fall themed kit, but look at how I could use this photo, which I want to say was taken probably closer to summer, because maybe even winter. I'm not actually sure when this photo was taken, but I know that's me. And I'm a December baby, and I don't think I'm walking yet. I'm fairly certain of that. So probably, I don't know. Anyway, probably not a fall themed layout. And so, and it's not about fall. So I didn't want to put fall leaves. But I wanted that feel of the colors that are there. And so I fussy cut some flowers, and those flowers complement perfectly. But I wanted a little bit more dark contrast. So I've pulled out some metal dies from scrapbook.com, and then I'm going to use the Mighty But Small kit, which is designed for pocket pages, memory planner pages, sort of your smaller projects. And I'm going to use that particular piece of so it's cardstock, it's pattern, it's Simple Stories paper, so it's plain on one side, and then you've got the dots on the other side, the tone on tone dots. And then I'm going to use this lighter orange, which is one of the pattern papers from the 6x8 paper pad that also comes, I believe, with the Small But Mighty kit. And then you also get some letters. So I'm going to make a tone on tone rose. Really, I think that's what it is, and layer that into the 3 clusters. So I do have a visual triangle here, and that leads your eye from the title through the story to the frames, and then back over to the bottom of the title over there. And right now you only see 2 of those, and I've skipped some of the die cutting because it's pretty, I mean, you stick the die down, you stick the paper down, and you roll it through, right? So easy peasy. And then these are more of the scrapbook.com. These are my favorite. When you're looking for extra greenery, foliage to add to your clusters, your layering, these are the best. I actually have 2 sets that I use, and I use them a lot. You know that if you follow my videos. So, do different colors. I just did them in that same blue pattern paper that I have on the header at the top there. And then I'm just doing white again for a little bit of contrast. There's a lot of dark and a lot of light, and it softens the photo. It takes the black out of that photo when you have that contrast in there. So that is all of the die cutting. I've got all the pieces. Now what I really need to do is I'm going to use some liquid adhesive, and again, pardon my head, there's lots of little fine lines here, and so the liquid adhesive with the fine tip applicator is the perfect way to get that on there. ThermoWeb actually has made a liquid adhesive that is no shine. I don't actually find that I get shine off of this one that's not the no shine one. It doesn't really bother me. You really have to hold the paper at the right angle to see the shine, and I don't ever hold my paper flat and look at it. So it's in an album when you flip it, right? It is flat, but it's also behind a shiny page protector. So does it really matter? Not to me. That was an aside. I apologize. So layering these things up, they just add a little bit of visual interest, places for sort of subtext in those frames. And I like the way that the lines across the page add more color, add sort of a texture, add movement to the page, but don't really... they're fun. I've covered up most of the center of the page where you see that there are those sort of the semicircle that sort of pulls it together where it goes around the corner there, kind of like a track. But you still see the lines, and it still gives you that movement on the page. And then putting the pictures and the frames sort of ski-wampus break the rigidity of that layout or the lines that are created there. Softens those lines. So this is a series, as I said, Old Stories, New Ways. This is our second episode. So be sure to check out what Sarah has created using her MKTC kit. And this is the Gather kit from October. So she's got a really cool double page, 8.5 letter size, 8.5 by 11 letter size layout. It's really cool, of her parents getting married, which I thought was really cool. So if there's anything that you want to see in particular, like something that strikes your fancy, leave a comment in the notes down below, or leave a comment down below, and we'll see what we can do to try and help you get a photo scrapped or put in an album. Enjoy the close-ups. Thanks for stopping in today. Come back again soon. Take care.